right. Good evening, everybody. So welcome. This is the reorganization, school committee organizational meeting. I'm calling to order at 7:05 p.m. I'm calling this meeting to order as the chair pro tem, the senior member of the school committee. I'm excited to welcome our returning member, Anna Varghese, our new member, Nathan Hutto. Congratulations to you both.
Thank you.
And so we have in our folder for this evening some handy notes for reorganization that sort of remind us the procedure for this sort of formal first part of the meeting. We'll just conduct this part of the meeting. We will then adjourn this part and just call to order our regular meeting for this evening. So the way this works is we have the opportunity, all of us, to suggest names for essentially nominations for chair of the school committee for the coming year. And that person has the opportunity to say if they accept the nomination or not. And then we can have the opportunity to discuss our option or options for chair. And that will be followed by nominations for vice chair. So if it's okay with people, I would like to start and then see what others think and may want to add. It has been a real privilege to serve as chair this past year and the year before that. I would like to actually nominate Amanda to be the next chair of the school committee. I've sort of, well, I don't want to get too far into it. We can discuss it, but had some discussion with you about sort of what you've brought to the committee in the past year and the opportunity to sort of focus on like moving forward as a committee with this fresh start that we have. A really exciting time for Milton Public Schools right now. And anyway, so I would like to offer that nomination. And I'm wondering what other, if any, names people would like to add to the mix.
Do we need to see if Amanda will accept the nomination based on the notes?
I guess we can, yeah, well, if there are no other names.
Wow. I would like to nominate you, Mark.
I know.
You have done so much for the board and on the subcommittee as well. And you seem to know the whole organization of school committee and the town, how to work with the other town board. So I would like to nominate you to be the next chair of our board if you will accept this nomination.
I appreciate that. I respectfully decline the nomination if that's okay. I have some reason. I think I have really enjoyed finance, and I would love to continue on finance to help land that plane next year. If that is, I know we're not talking about that, but also my wife will.
Got it.
Yes, and
I promise.
I really appreciate that. I appreciate that, Bao. And I didn't want to put Mark on the spot, but I did. He had let me know that prior to this.
Okay.
And I think one of the things, Nathan, you'll learn is that we want to try and like respect people's balance and boundaries in terms of what we're all able to give. And, you know, we'll work through that as we go forward. It's a lot to consider, so.
Awesome. Any nomination?
Amanda, do you accept a nomination?
I do. I would, I have the same thought that Mark would be phenomenal. But yes, I accept the nomination.
So, thank you for accepting that. And at this point, what happens is we take a roll call vote.
We need a motion to close the nomination.
Yes, sorry. I will
make
ask for a motion to close nominations.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thanks. Okay, so we will go, this states it needs to be in alphabetical order. So I vote yes. Nathan,
Oh, yeah, yes.
Mark,
Yes.
Amanda,
Yes.
Bao,
Yes.
Hannah.
Yes.
Okay. So our new chair accepts the election as Milton School Committee Chair. Congratulations, Amanda. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah,
for taking the responsibility.
My husband's traveling. That's the only way I'm getting away with this right now.
Hopefully
You
you
also-
also you will be
I
surprised.
don't know
Yeah.
how to use this, but there you go.
That'd be great.
Okay, so now we move on to the vice chair. And you are the chair, so
So we have
at
to
this
ask.
point, members suggest names for vice chair.
I would like to suggest, can I suggest the name Lizzie Carroll, if she will accept it? I think I know trying to step back being chair is a lot of work, but I think having your insight into that, especially with the new chair, given none of us were vice chairs last year, and to have that, or chairs before, and have that lens of experience would be great, valuable.
I agree.
I agree. Are there any other nominations? So do you accept the nomination, Lizzie?
Yeah. Yes, I do.
Okay. And do we have a motion to close the nominations? Right.
So moved.
Okay. Second.
Second.
All right. Lizzie,
Yes.
Nathan,
Yes.
Mark,
Yes.
I'm a yes. Bao,
Yes.
Anna.
Yes.
Great. So I now move to adjourn the reorganization meeting.
Second. All in favor?
All in favor?
I think this can just be a regular vote. Yeah.
Great. So now we close this meeting. Do we reopen?
Mhm.
Okay. Sorry, I need to follow the notes here. So now I open the April 30th regular school committee meeting at 7:13. And we stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Where are the notes for public comment? So then we need to approve the agenda for the April 30th meeting. Are there any changes or additions? So are we doing that?
One change is that we are going to postpone the portion of the executive session on MEA units B and D. Those are not quite ready for us to approve, so we will do those at our next meeting. And we will, though, still do the executive session around Dr. Watt's contract addendum.
Okay.
We're doing that after this one?
That will be,
Yeah.
so that will be under the chair's report. We'll go into a quick executive session and then we'll come back and vote back into open session to vote that. So we'll take the contract, we'll take the contract approval for MEA off of our open
Okay.
session approvals. We'll postpone that. Yeah. Yeah.
So then we open public comment. So we have public comment for 15 minutes. We ask people to limit their comments to 3 minutes. And we don't respond to public comment, but if that topic comes up later during the meeting, we can address your comments or questions then, if it fits. Are you guys here for public comment?
I am.
All right, come on up.
Just introduce.
Yeah. Can you just introduce yourself?
Hi.
Hi.
Yeah, sure. Hi, I'm Kristen Chandler. I am the mom of 3 Milton High School student athletes. I'm new to Milton. I've relatively been here for 3 years, but relative to how old Milton is, it feels like I am brand new. So I am very thankful for being here and being in a community that values education so much, especially you guys tonight. So thank you. I was a little bit late. We were a bit late because I was just watching my daughter win first place on the 2 mile out in the track meet. All 3 of my kids are on the outdoor track team. They're also on the indoor track team, and they're also cross country runners. They like to run. They also were on the volleyball team, the lacrosse team, and the soccer team. But I wanted to talk to you about the outdoor track team. This team is the biggest athletic team that Milton High School has. It is also the most inclusive. Any kid that wants to be on an athletic team can come join this team. There's no barring of athletic ability or experience. If you want to come join, come hang out with peers in a safe, healthy athletic endeavor after school, you're welcome to come, and that is one of the best things about this team. It's not only inclusive, diverse, and equitable across female and male. They're presented the same. Boys compete, and the girls compete. They're the same. I love that about this team, and the girls get to be right there next to the boys. Not only is this team inclusive, but it's also really good. The boys were the D3 indoor champions this year for Milton High, bringing a lot of, honor to Milton High School. The girls were the runners-up in the Division III championship in indoor. The boys were also the D3, the Division III relay champions this year. This team has the chance to be the D3 champion again this year. There are a lot of really good kids on this team. There's also a lot of individual champions, including my son. They have the opportunity to repeat this in the outdoor track Division III championship, which is on, unfortunately, June 1st. These kids have been put in a bad spot. They have to choose between their high school graduation and the culminating competition, which is the culminating event of their athletic career, and they have to choose between that and the culminating competition. They have to choose between academics and athletics. The culminating events for both of these things are on the same exact day. The D3 championship was scheduled by the MIAA on the same time and the same day as the Milton High School graduation. This conflict isn't just affecting Milton High School, it's affecting 12 other D3 schools. And in fact, 56 schools across all of Massachusetts are affected in a similar way. For us, this date, June 1st, is D3. There are 13 total schools that are affected by this. These kids now have to choose in a lose-lose situation. They have to choose between letting their classmates down. There are 34 seniors on the track team. That's a lot. If they choose competition, their senior class, 275 students, will feel the weight of those kids not being there at graduation. There will be empty seats, there will be empty rows. It's the difference of Elliot going to high five his best friend Joshua, and Joshua's not there. It's Abby wanting to go take a picture with Zakai after graduation, and he's not there. They will be missed. They have to choose between that, or they could choose graduation. It is the most important event in their academic life, and it should be celebrated above almost anything else, in my opinion. But if they do this, they'll let their entire team down. This team has over 120 students on it. It's not just seniors, it is all these other classmates as well, and they all have the chance to be champions this year. And if the seniors don't go, they don't stand a chance. So they have to choose, do I let my teammates down? Do I let my class down? And to me, this is not fair that they have to choose. We as adults and caring members of the educational community can do something about this. We have two options. In my opinion, we can change the time or date of graduation, or we can advocate for the MIAA to find a different time or date for that championship. We have a group of parents and I have advocated already with Ms. Cahill to move the time or graduation date. That was not successful. She said that that is not possible. She met with us as parents and then met with the seniors last night to give them an option of a Zoom graduation or another date. These kids also missed their 8th grade graduation. They were affected by COVID and that, so they didn't walk at that point either. I am here to ask if you can help us. I would like everybody that can, that has any position or power, which is all of us as citizens and parents and the students themselves. We have written a letter to the MIAA, to the executive director of the MIAA, asking them to consider literally any change, whether it's moving it earlier in the day, whether it's consolidating it with the first day of competition, or maybe it could be a rain date, or it's something that I don't have any idea about. I don't want to tell them what to do, but we're asking them to not put the children in this situation. The MIAA is an athletic association that should serve our schools in support of their athletic ventures. But in my opinion, academics comes first. I would like to be an adult in this situation and let the kids be kids for just a few more weeks before they have to go out and be adults. So I'm wondering if you can help us advocate for a change here.
Thank you.
Did I miss anything?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So now,
Just make sure there's nobody
yeah, is there
online.
anybody on? Mark, is there anyone online?
There are a couple of folks online. Nobody has their hand raised.
Is there anybody online who's looking to speak for public comment? If so, could you raise your hand? No?
Nope.
Okay. Seeing no one, we will move on to the superintendent's report. Thank you. You're welcome.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And thank you to all the Milton voters who went out and supported the schools yesterday and voted. We are, as a staff, immensely grateful for the immeasurable work, time, and resources that so many people provided, including the school committee, the Milton United campaign, and all the community members who stood holding signs, put lawn signs out, even did any small act to support the schools. It's greatly appreciated. And it will allow us to continue our work and to work really closely with the school committee. We understand that we need to be mindful and transparent about all budgetary matters moving forward to regain the trust of the community. It's really important to us. And Assistant Superintendent Blake and I met today with incoming Superintendent Fallon, and he is very mindful of this goal. And I feel very confident that we will be able to work together and make you proud of the schools and regain the trust of the community. So thank you. Next week, on a celebratory note, next week is Teacher and Staff Appreciation Week, and we have many things to be thankful for, including this opportunity to celebrate the successful override. Last week, we had a road show, a celebration road show, celebrating the Milton Foundation for Education Teacher of the Year Awards. And it was so fun. And every school celebrated in a little different way. And I was very lucky, as well as Assistant Superintendent Blake, to go to all of the awards, except we missed the middle school one because we had a conflict. But it was a great celebration. The students were ecstatic and so proud of their teachers. So I would like to honor them tonight and tell you who they are. You may know some of them. Kate Middleton Rookie of the Year, which is a new award, was given to a business teacher here at Milton High School, Mr. Joshua Hammermesh. The Dr. Mary Gracio O'Neill Leadership Award went to a special education teacher at the Tucker School, Ms. Bonnie Johnson, who is lovely. I've worked with her last year. Paraprofessional of the Year also went to a Tucker School staff member, Eleanor Jones, who's a legend at Tucker. The Collicott Teacher of the Year was Olivia McGrath. The Cunningham Teacher of the Year was Anna Marie Quinn. Glover Teacher of the Year was Alana Craven. Milton High School Teacher of the Year was Billy Donovan. The Pierce Teacher of the Year, Colin Flaherty. And the Tucker Teacher of the Year was Amy Pula. Congratulations to all of those teachers. They are fantastic educators, and they deserve to be honored and awarded this prestigious vote of confidence from their colleagues.
That's great.
Yeah, really exciting. Please remember that the Milton Foundation for Education has an upcoming celebration, the Celebration for Education, on Saturday, May 3rd at the Marriott Boston Quincy Hotel at 5:30 p.m. And tickets are still available. And I heard it's really a fun time. It is.
It is.
Yeah, I'm sure many of you members have been there.
Is it Derby Day? Yeah, Derby.
We have a special shout out to two of our students that completed the Boston Marathon in honor of, they raised funds for Dana-Farber Cancer Institute. And as you know, to be a marathon runner, you do have to put significant effort into fundraising as well as running. And that is Riley Bergen and Lucy Lloyd Farber. So congratulations to them. I know they were joined on the course by many faculty members. Several people ran. I personally know somebody who ran from the Tucker School, and I'm sure there are many others. So congratulations to all our marathon runners. And don't forget to buy your tickets to Milton High School's production of Grease, which they're working on right now. It is Friday, May 2nd, Saturday, May 3rd. 2 performances on Saturday. A matinee at 2 and an evening one, and Sunday at 2. So, we have two presentations that we had planned to do, the meeting that was canceled, but that we have moved to the May 21st meeting. One of them is with regard to special education here in the Milton schools, and Danielle Wetmore will join us on our next meeting, which is May 21st, to present on that. So I just didn't want you to think that we had forgotten about that, but we do plan to present about the special education issues on that. And we also have another presentation about performance matters, which we'll explain when we get there. But tonight, there are 2 agenda items which we do need school committee votes on, and one is on the Power School mass action lawsuit, and Bob Patterson and AJ are online as panelists here, and they are going to briefly summarize this lawsuit and give you an opportunity to make a motion if you'd like to vote on that. So AJ and Bob, are you there?
Hi everybody. Thanks for having me. I just wanted to give you a brief overview of the mass action lawsuit that is being proposed against Power School, and we are recommending that the school committee vote to join that lawsuit because it it serves a couple of purposes. It would indemnify the school district in case of any future litigation, and there's no cost to the school district. The only cost would be incurred as if there was a monetary settlement that we were seeking to gain from Power School. The attorneys would take 30% of that, but we are not trying to do that. We are just looking for protection for the future. And I mean, that's essentially it. There was a lot of information that was sent to you with summarizing the lawsuit and the purpose, and there was a video of a webinar that I attended that explained everything that was pretty thorough. So that's essentially it, unless AJ wants to add any more, but we are recommending that, and it's a requirement, the school committee vote to join and fill out a form, and then there's a long questionnaire that we probably handle.
Thank you, Bob. AJ Melanson is also with us. Did you have anything to add to that, or are you?
No, does anyone have any questions for us?
Have we had any, I assume the answer is no, but have we had any prior work with this law firm before, or this is just one of the, and I also assume there are a couple like law firms doing these things, but this is the one that we've been connected with through the Power School.
This one is connected through the Massachusetts Data Privacy Alliance. They have somehow they are connected with this law firm, and there are hundreds of school districts that are joining in on this.
Any other questions?
I'm Nathan Hutto. I'm a new member here, and I'm just reading this now for the first time. But can you just describe how, like, what the indemnification mechanism is? Is this through? Does participating in this work through an insurance mechanism? Like, how does indemnification actually come up with?
I believe that Power School would be responsible for any action.
Okay. So if there is an action taken by, say, a family in Milton that feels like their data was exposed against us, the liability transfers to Power School if this lawsuit is successful. That will be one of the.
Correct.
Okay.
Any other questions?
No, my experience with these class actions, the risk is somewhat low.
Yeah.
Payoff is, if there is any years and years down the line,
Yeah.
then probably minimal, but the risk to your organization didn't appear to be great by joining this.
So do we have a, should I make the motion or does someone make the motion? For
Yeah.
to approve the Milton?
I will
To
make a-
join, yeah.
Yeah.
I can make a motion for the Milton Public Schools to join a mass action lawsuit against Power School in response to their cybersecurity incident and related issues.
Second?
All in favor?
Great, thank you, AJ, and
Thank
Bob,
you.
I appreciate your time.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you all.
And the only other item on this agenda for me is with reference to the South Shore Educational Collaborative. And the South Shore Educational Collaborative, for those who don't know, is a group of school districts here on the South Shore, which provides special education services and to sports for some of our students who require specialized settings. And every year, they request that you, as a school committee, vote on a representative who will sit on their board. Over the course of this year, Dr. Burrows has been the member. Other years, I believe the superintendent is also appointed one of the either perhaps assistant superintendent or another representative of the faculty. But there's a motion in your folder, and there's a little bit of information about the South Shore Educational Collaborative for you to vote about appointing someone for that position.
And the deadline's coming up for this. So
Yes, I believe it's May 15th.
Yeah.
Which is prior to our next meeting, which is May 21st. So, and it would be effective for next school year.
So my confusion about the motion is are we moving to appoint the superintendent or a designee? So how does that?
I think the language of the motion is just and/or a designee, so the superintendent can determine if it's himself or someone else.
I think Dr. Burrows had participated in it as a way to network with other districts too. Depends upon who it would work best for in terms of their schedules also.
I'll make a motion to appoint the superintendent of Milton Public Schools and/or a designee to be Milton's representative to the South Shore Educational Collaborative.
Second.
So that means for the month of May, it would be Dr. Watts, and then after that, it would be the interim superintendent, Dr.
Or a designee.
Or designee.
Yeah. If they choose to have somebody else attend.
Okay.
All those in favor?
It's the end of my
Great. Thank you. Thank you.
agenda. You're welcome.
First one down.
Sorry, get back to the agenda. All right, so do we now have to close this meeting? Do we have to? Yes. So to move. So a motion to close the meeting and then do it. Is there special language?
Yes.
Sorry.
So
Sorry.
the motion would be to, I'll just go ahead and make the motion. The motion would be to adjourn to executive session, to return to open session, pursuant to Mass General Law C30A 21A2, to discuss strategy in preparation for negotiations and contract negotiations with non-union personnel. Dr. Regina Watts, acting superintendent.
Second.
All those in favor? Okay, great. So we now
We'll, so
adjourn
now
this.
this meeting is paused.
Yeah.
And then we'll return to open session.
Okay. We have returned to open session, and so now we need to have a motion on approving the contract for acting superintendent Dr. Regina Watts. Do I have a motion?
I can make the motion to approve the addendum to the contract for Dr. Regina Watts, appointing her as the acting superintendent of the Milton Public Schools for the period of May 1st, 2025 through June 1st, 2025.
Second. Sorry. Okay, all in favor?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Congratulations.
Are you getting worried?
No.
All right, we will now move on to the Finance Subcommittee report from Mark.
Great. Thank you, everyone. I think the first thing to name is just it was discussed a little bit before, but the override,
Yes.
overwhelming success of the override vote. So I want to take a moment to just thank all the voters in town who came out and voted, period. There was an enormous turnout, which was fantastic. Also want to highlight this, the overwhelming support for the override. I mean, almost 2/3 of residents, of voters, I should say, voted in favor, which is remarkable, much higher than at least the last override. I'm not sure where it ranks kind of historically, but given the size of it and all the other things around, that just showed a lot of trust and faith and support that the residents showed for our kids and for our staff and for all the other departments within the town that were affected. So I think that's phenomenal. I do want to take a moment personally, just I think we all do, thank all the volunteers who helped, just so many people talking to neighbors, handing out flyers, knocking on doors, standing out, connecting with fellow residents to get out the word. Just so many people put in so much time. It is impossible to thank them all. There are too many to name, but I do just want to name 3 individuals, Ralph Parent, Lindsay Bigby, and Luisa Pena Lyons. These were the kind of primary organizers around Milton United. And again, there are many other people involved who deserve a shout out, but those 3 in particular were kind of the organizers around that group. I think that group ran an outstanding campaign around kind of uniting a town, and the proof is in the pudding, so to speak, of kind of residents really responded to that message. And again, I think our staff and our students would be in a much worse place if those 3 residents hadn't stepped up and really taken that on for our town. So thank you to Ralph, Lindsay, and Lisa. And overall, just excited for what this means for our staff, our students, and our town as a whole. So thank you to everybody who voted. Move on now to FY25 budget updates. We have 2 things there. We have a fee schedule, and so we'll start with that. This is technically actually related to FY26, but essentially we at the Finance Committee have been working to look over the fee schedule and look at adjustments for next year. Some of this is related to the override work of looking at revenues and expenses, things like that. And Katie has made kind of a number of proposals that we've talked through regarding the fee schedules. Most of them, again, the fee schedules in your folder, most of them are highlighted in yellow. There are some I just want to name are not highlighted, which is the high school athletics fees. Those are also being adjusted in the current year. And to kind of go through it, broadly speaking, we're making adjustments to the peer student activities fees, the high school student activities fees, the middle school athletics fee, the high school athletics fee, the music program fee, and the community schools fees. We already approved as a committee some of these fees related to like the summer school, but the rest of the fees are outstanding. This is one of the, kind of looking at the history here, fee changes, one of the more holistic approaches to the fee changes that the committee has done in quite a while. So we are touching a lot of different areas here, not every area. So there are some other things we'll be looking at next year. But anything to add, Amanda, on the fee schedule?
No. May I ask clarifying questions?
Please.
Some of it mentioned about like per hours or per section, but some of them did not mention. So I don't know, like short-term rental for Park and Rec, for example. What is it supposed to mean? Is it like for the whole year for a season?
Yeah, that's great. We're not changing any of the rental rates, but those rentals are on an hourly basis. It's the hourly cost, and it differs by who is renting and obviously what is being rented. But none of those fees are changing. None of the rental fees affect the operating budgets as that hits the facility kind of revolving fund, rental revolving fund. But those are not being changed. They are something we've flagged within the Finance Committee that we're looking at potentially for next year. Anything else I missed in the fee overview, Katie?
No, I was just going to mention that the rental section was something, if you look at the last increase column, those are some of the fees that have been in place for the longest. But we when we talked this morning during finance subcommittee, we talked about just wanting to take some time to be able to pull in the comparable data, and then also look at the structure of the rentals. We had mentioned this morning, but I'll just mention again, I think an important part for me is not only the fee that's listed, but also the administration of being able to actually, when we're saying that we're charging the fee, that we can follow through on that. And I think in some instances when we look at this, it can be a little confusing and convoluted. And so I think if there's an ability for us to look at it, to potentially pull in some comp data and then just look at the overall structure of the fee schedule as it relates to rentals, then will probably be work that we can do in the upcoming, over the summer, and have that prepared for you to be able to discuss and potentially update next school year.
Yeah, just want to highlight too that that's been helpful work that Katie has brought in as we looked at the fees. It's the kind of some in certain places bringing comparison to other, also some places looking at again what are the costs associated with some of these programs versus what the revenue is coming in from these fees, and how do we better align. There's still costs outside of the fees that are being paid by the district that do hit our operating budget for clubs and sports, right? There are some things, these fees do not fully cover 100% of those. Some of that does hit our operational budget, as we saw from the override discussions. But
Sorry, Mark. I just want to make sure I understood what you were just saying. Is the goal to be able to understand what the margin is on all of these fees? Is that what you were just saying?
The goal is to, these fees are intended to offset the operational costs, so that the users are paying something. They are not paying 100% of the costs associated with the things. And so this was looking at, as our costs overall have been increasing, right, related to inflation, how are we adjusting the fees slightly? How are we adjusting the fees somewhat to help cover and offset the fact that the burden on the operational budget is growing? How do we grow the fee revenue as well?
Okay.
Some of the programs, if I can just add, some of the programs listed on the fee schedule are for programs that are intended to be self-sustaining. So when we talk about the community schools program, community schools is not funded. They don't have operational costs that are funded through the Milton Public Schools operating budget. It's intended to be a self-sustaining program based off of just the expenses are covered by the fees that are listed in this fee schedule. So there is a differentiation in some of the categories. For transportation, the fees we collect only offset a portion of the expense, but in the instance of community schools, that is intended to be a self-sustaining. So in this year, our proposal and the fee increase was increased in order so that we can continue to be self-sustaining and that we do not have to cover any costs from the operating budget.
The music, the programs for the high school, the private lessons, it's not actually for high school students, it's for
Just
elementary
at
school
high
students.
school.
But
Correct.
that's also a self-sustaining program. Any other questions on the fees? Okay. Well, again, really appreciate, Katie, all your work in helping kind of guide us through this this year. And I will make a motion to approve the FY26 fee schedule dated April 14th, 2025. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. All in favor? So that's the fees.
I didn't know we have adult education, like driver's education.
Driver's ed, which is a good price for that.
Yeah.
That's
Paid
one
for.
we're looking at too. Slowly looking at all of them. All right, the next thing was the Q3 report. So this is something we discussed briefly at the last school committee meeting. No one could hear me.
So apologize for that. But again, appreciate Katie putting together the quarter 3 report. We, at that time, hadn't had a chance to talk about Ed Finance. We were able to talk about that this morning. And so just wanted to bring it back in case there were any questions. I don't think there's any additional updates or information kind of gained at Finance this morning that we want to make sure to share. But I think the highlight here remains that, we are currently projecting kind of in line with where we have been projecting in terms of that number just south of 700,000 in terms of the projected deficit at the end of the year. That has not increased, which is great. It has also not shrunk significantly, which is obviously not great, but that is where we're trending. And so depending on town meeting and the warrant article associated with kind of the allocation of the 700,000 for FY25 that will be voted on at some point during town meeting, that additional revenue into the current year fiscal budget should help at this point kind of sustain us. I know at some points we were talking about whether or not we needed the full $1 million. At this point, it doesn't look like we're projecting that, but obviously there is some unknowns related to the state budget, I forget what it's called. Supplemental, thank you, that's the word I was looking for. The supplemental FY25 budget from the state. That still is moving forward, the expected revenue from that, but again, it's not within our control, so it is still somewhat up in the air.
Do we have any more info on that? Nothing. Okay.
So then I know at our last meeting, we talked about the large group sub coverage. Does that still work within the 700 that we're looking at? Okay.
So to clarify that, the assumption to stay under the 700 is still, even if we're not implementing large-scale sub-coverage at Pierce High School, that we can still stay under, even without doing that, we can still stay under the $700,000 number. Any other questions? This obviously is a number we're going to need to continue to pay close attention to. So we will be, obviously there's quarter 3 reports, the next one's quarter 4, which is July. We'll be having some interim reports that Katie is putting together just to make sure we are continuing to track this so that if there's anything that is unexpected at this point that pops up. Luckily the window is shrinking and shrinking, so the number of unexpected things are shrinking with it. But it's just something we'll continue to monitor and finance and bring back here and keep the committee apprised.
I know that the date is that with July, end of July or June 30th?
June 30th is the end of the fiscal year.
So would we have a meeting to kind of go through that? Because I know last year we didn't have one until like July 30th, I think it was, or sometime later when we had that meeting. So I don't know if it makes sense to kind of walk us, like have a meeting to close, not that we want to have an additional meeting in the summer, but just so that everybody's on the same page about like where we are. And, I don't know if there's a way to provide an update, just because we didn't.
Well, the other piece that we're going to need to determine what the number is that we need to ask the warrant committee for. Because the money is not, the 700,000 is not coming to us, it's going to the town account, and warrant committee controls that. And so we'll need to, the goal is that we're not looking for a penny more than we need, but we won't technically know that exact number until the budget is closed out in July. And so,
so we, the timing work.
So we've never quite done this before, but I assume, you can still go back and allocate the funds past July 1st back to cover the FY25, because that's what the town meeting vote was to allocate an FY25, so that covers that, and you have some time after the fiscal year to clean up the fiscal year and get those things. So, but we would need probably a vote, I would assume, from school committee to make the request of the warrant committee. I'm not 100% sure since we already voted to ask for them, but we probably would defer to the chair on that. And then we'd need to go in front of the warrant committee, and they'd have to have a special meeting. So that is something we could do technically, I guess, before July or June 30th, if we felt really good about what the number is. And if we're not 100% sure, then we could hold off. But yeah, those are, I think, our two avenues of either meeting
Yeah, I
in
just think
July.
like, again, I think just as we talk about process and, you know, improving like what we learned from last year, just, you know, if there needs to be something where we can all get together and kind of really understand it, make sure like everybody's good with it, you know, I think it'll be helpful for us, you know, just so, even if it's like a Zoom meeting or something, you know, over the, I know it's tough, like, but
yeah, I think that would be helpful. I mean, I think that's the one thing that we were even talking about meeting, like you're talking about pulling a report. What we're saying that a lot of the like the stipends and everything hit in May. So even that, like pulling a report then to know sort of where we are, given that May is probably the last big salary month, and then and having a sense of that. I have one other question. So the other big area where, for lack of putting it another way, the surprises can happen would be with special ed. So is there, I assume there's like ongoing communication with you and Danielle, or if something's coming up, or you see something, you know, because she sort of would know if things are on the horizon. That communication is coming to you guys so that there's sort of a, hey, this child could be going out of district, or we have a child moving in, or something along those lines. Okay.
So
And there's a flagged, like, do you have like I don't know how else to ask, is there a mechanism almost like for flagging it for you in your budget?
So we have been meeting collectively with the business office and special education to talk about the budget on a monthly basis. We just met, not last week, it was the school vacation week, but the week before. And so at this point in the year, although it is a really busy time of year, because we're getting towards the end of the school year, even if we were to have some potential student that could potentially be going out of district, it's just the window is that much shorter because we'd only be paying for a certain number of days. So I think as we progress to the end of the fiscal year, we're still monitoring it very closely, and we do have different situations where there may be expenses that come up that we weren't anticipating, but those expenses should be smaller in nature than they could potentially be in January or earlier in the school year. So still really monitoring it closely, but as I said, as each kind of day goes by, we know that that's one more day that we potentially are not paying for.
That cost.
Many of the big surprise move-ins occur over the summer. Versus more logical time for families to move.
Okay.
Coming out of probably town meeting, once that votes are done, it probably is going to make sense for us to meet with the town administrator and the head of the warrant committee, the chair of the warrant committee, just to align on kind of that process, because we know we're going to need to go back to warrant committee, and so we will need to figure out, to your point, Anna, like the exact timing of like, is that just before June 30th? Is that just after June 30th? And just what makes sense? Because obviously some of the funds also, the gap is also being closed through the use of reserve accounts too, which is we don't have to go to them for. It's within our control.
Do we have the opportunity to go to warrant committee and recommend, because I'm just wanting to be mindful of the timing, to ask for the $700,000, say before the end of the fiscal year, but then if we do not have to utilize it, because we only want to
utilize what we need.
We're just utilizing what we need once the books are closed.
Yeah, I think we should just meet with Nick and Tom and see what they what they feel comfortable with after we get through.
Okay.
To know if town meeting even approves the plan in general, and that we're still tracking to under that number, and that's we're not going to need to go back to warrant or town meeting or select board for anything else. So, good questions. Anything else on the Q3 reports? Okay. Then I have one more. We only have the vendor warrant 42 here, Katie, but we had that adjustment to 40. That was on your desk. We can loop back with Gail on that and do it
Okay.
next time. Is that right? I just want to flag
Yes.
that for the.
Please. Yeah.
All right, I will make a motion to approve vendor warrant 42 in the amount of $243,414.24 payable on 5/1/25. That is one I sent out today for y'all. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? That is approved. That's the end of finance update.
Right. Right, this is me. So approval, and then so we have minutes in the folder. We have minutes for, this is correct, April 2nd, April 23rd. Yeah, April 2nd and April 23rd. So does anybody need?
So we can take them separately because I wasn't here for the second.
Okay. Right. So for April 2nd.
I can make a motion.
Great.
If chair's ready. I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from April 2nd, 2025 Milton School Committee meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Abstain?
Abstaining.
Great. Yep. And then
I'll make another motion to approve the minutes from April 23rd, 2025 Milton School Committee meeting.
I'll second.
all those in favor?
Abstentions?
Any abstentions? Thank you. Sorry. Oh, this is gonna be fun. Patience, please. Yeah. All right, moving along. All right. And I just closed out the agenda, so I think that was.
So that was the next meeting.
The next meeting. Any agenda items? So we have the special. Danielle's going to do her
The
presentation.
special education presentation, and we're also going to do a brief presentation about Performance Matters, electronic platform that we're opening for families with more information about their students' scores on various testing.
Oh, okay. And then
I think we'll also have our school choice hearing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That has to be approved by June 1st.
And then next week is town meeting, right?
And town meeting.
Is it Monday?
Monday,
Yeah, Monday.
Tuesday.
They're not skipping this time. Didn't
No,
they usually
they're doing
the
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday next week, I believe.
Yeah, and the following week too, if we go the following week.
Bite your tongue.
It's all Monday.
So hopefully we don't have to.
Oh, is that why our school committee meeting is pushed to?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that's why it's 3 weeks from now, is because of town meeting.
Okay. And then would there be the normal? Would it be like finance report? Then is there facilities or policy? Is there anything going on with either of those?
I think we'd have to do the reorg, right? I mean, like figure that out.
So
How does that all work?
policy is scheduled for May 20th. So I think my sense of how this tends to work is that we try to do the reorganization of subcommittees by the end of June, like.
Okay.
And so I think between now and June, those of us who are on subcommittees are sticking with our assignments, and Nathan will be,
We'll send out the list of.
Amanda
Yeah.
can,
Yeah.
Amanda, you can send that out to everybody, like the information, and people can have the opportunity to
Yeah.
share preferences for assignments for next year. And I'll help you work through that process.
And you said the student.
But so
The
we,
student reps are coming on May 21st to just
to our
Great.
meeting?
give
Oh,
a
great,
brief
great.
summary on the projects they have worked on this
Great.
year and the next steps.
Great.
Do we need to meet before town meeting?
I don't believe we need to meet as a full committee before town meeting because there's nothing for us to weigh in on that we haven't, apart from our budget and the $700,000 request, which we've already obviously voted to request. So I don't believe we need to have a special meeting. I think, we'll work together to get our information ready to share. Mark and we'll learn more tomorrow from Nick about the expected plan for the meeting. So I guess if we learn something other and we need to meet, we can.
Okay.
Right. Set that up. Nathan, we sit in the front row.
Oh yeah. Oh, I know. I'll be there. And I in that row.
Is there anything else for the next meeting?
Policy
Yeah,
will have
policy.
met the day before, so we can.
Yeah, we
Policy.
have policy. Okay. I'm just trying to look at that calendars. Facilities. Don't think we meet. Sorry, I'm just looking.
I don't know about school.
Facilities doesn't meet till the 26th.
Okay. What about school building committee? Mark, is that? You can.
I don't think we're meeting before the 21st. If I find out different, I'll
Okay.
let you know.
Anything else? No. All right. If not, then do I have a motion to adjourn? Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second. All in favor? Meeting adjourned. Thanks.
Congratulations.